Hi guys, so I think this is part 6, I think I call this. We're just going to gap the piston rings. I bought a new set of piston rings for the PAZ1, and according to the book, ring gaps when new are 9 to 14 thou when new rings are more than 60. When the gap's more than 60 thou, the ring should be renewed. So as maybe some of you know from the earlier one of the earlier bits, parts, I actually broke one of the rings, so it was a bit annoying. So I bought a new set. They weren't expensive, but I did notice on the new set they're all like, you've got the 3 cast iron top rings, which are just simple rings, like where are they? These ones, like these ones. Just simple. You've got 3 rings like that at the top, and you've got a couple like this, like the oil control ones or something like that, I suppose they are. But on the original engine, you've got the top ring is chromium plated. So I'm going to reuse the top ring, which is chromium plated, because it's a better quality ring. It's still within the tolerances. It was only 35 thou gap. And also, when you put new rings in, there's always a little bit of wear on the top, in the barrel. There's going to be a bit of wear, so you should probably generally chamfer the top ring anyway, chamfer it a little bit all around the edges, so that it doesn't get broken by hitting a slight ridge, because obviously the bore at the very top will not be worn at all, because the rings don't reach the very top. So that bit will be completely unworn. Well, a little bit further down there will be wear. Even if you can't tell there's wear, even if you can't feel there's wear, there's going to be a bit of wear. So when that new ring hits that kind of ridge, it could damage it. So in the old days, they would use cord rings, apparently. This guy told me about this, and he said chamfer the piston ring along the top edge, so that when it comes up, it kind of merges into the unworn bit of metal in the bore. I haven't explained that very well, but I think you probably get the gist. So I will use this top ring, and the brand new rings can go on the rest of the piston. Some people might think that's daft, but that's what the general consensus was. So we've just been checking these rings. You should always gap your new rings, and we got 14 thou. So I'll check each of the rings just to make sure that we got the right clearance. So I'll come back in a minute and tell you if I've got it all good. And when you do gap your new rings, put them at the top of the barrel bore, where the unworn part of the bore is. That'll give you the accurate reading. I'm sure they'll be a bit different further down, but I might have a look and see. So we're just gapping the last ring here. What we got, so yeah, we got, that's 14 thou. They do vary a bit between like 13 and 15 thou. So the quality control out in India is probably not as good as the original PETA place. But anyway, it'll do for what we want. So we just pop them back on the piston. Then we're going to get the blooming piston back on the con rod. Anyway, there we go. So that's the piston rings done. I'll come back in a second, and I'll just give you a little update on some other bits and pieces. So I'll see you again in a minute. Or just one other thing that I did was when I took the original piston rings off, because I was hoping to reuse them, I marked the top of each ring with a little bit of Tipp-Ex. But obviously I'm only going to be using one ring, the top chromium plated ring. So that's got the Tipp-Ex on, because that would be the way they wear. I mean, I think that's what you should do. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it doesn't matter, but that's the way that's been going up and down in that configuration. So that will be the wear mark of the bore. So it's good to put them back the way they came off. But the new ones, obviously, it doesn't matter. But I'm just going to get rid of that bit of white Tipp-Ex with a bit of emery cloth, and we'll put that on. Right, so we've got all the piston rings on now, so they're all good. Like I say, we've reused the chromium plated ring, because I think it's probably better quality than the plain cast iron one, which they give you in the replacement one from Stationary Engine Spares. The piston, it just says here, the piston has 5 ring grooves. A chromium plate compression ring is placed at the top, followed by 2 plain compression rings, and the rest of them are slotted scraper rings. So the slotted scraper rings are there and at the very bottom. You can see the chromium one quite a bit different to the cast iron ones. So anyway, that should be okay anyway. This little tool's really useful. I still managed to break one because I'm bloody clumsy, but hopefully no harm is done. We'll have to try and refit this now. I'll have to get my steps on Ben to give me a hand. We've got a piston ring compressor. Normally you can actually put the piston in to the barrel upside down and with the con rod on, but because these nuts are on the top, that's going to be impossible. So you've got to drop the barrel down over. It's a bit fiddly, and I've never done that before, but we'll give it a go. Wish me luck. Obviously you have to stagger these rings out so none of them line up, otherwise you won't have any compression. So yeah, that's the piston prepped up now. So I'll see you a bit later. Cheers, over and out. Well, there was a couple of other things I was going to show you. So look, we've got the engine all painted up now. That's had a couple of coats of the old, I think that's light Brunswick green. Oh dear, look, there's a drip there, look at that. I did, as you can see, I did in the end paint the flywheel. Even though it's concealed behind the shroud and the cowling, I thought it kind of was a bit of an affront to me, so I gave it a good clean and gave it a good coat of paint. So, like I say, it's not a concourse restoration. I haven't taken stripped the whole engine down, because it seems all pretty good. Big ends are good, mains don't seem to have any play in them. I haven't taken the flywheel off. I didn't fancy it giving that a go, and it was all okay anyway. So yeah, like I say, it was just to keep me amused really. I didn't want to go too mad. But look, the exhaust. This is a right bodge up I've done here. I had a Peta AA1 exhaust. There's the pepper pot bit. I drilled some bigger holes in it. I need an exhaust for this, but I can't seem to find one at the moment. This was the bit exhaust it came with. It was just a straight through pipe, and the silencer bit was missing. So I need to get a new one, but to get me out of trouble for now, don't upset the neighbours too much, because this will make a hell of a din probably with no exhaust on it. It's terrible, isn't it? I welded that exhaust, the pepper pot bit, onto the bit here, but the metal's so thin and I've only got an arc welder. I've blown holes in it. I'm not a very good welder. I'm all right at welding big lumps of metal, but it is on there. It's stuck. It is on there. It won't come off. It's kind of, I've managed to sort of tack it on, and I've ordered some gum exhaust paste and a bandage, so I'll wrap that around it, and that'll get me out of trouble for now, till I find a proper exhaust, proper, like, nice one. But that'll get me out of trouble. But there we go. Yeah, so that's where we are so far. I've got to go to hospital tomorrow. I've got to have an operation on my knee. I've got to have they're going to stir my meniscus up. But it is light Brunswick green. That's what the colour is. I'm not sure if that's the right Peta green. It probably isn't, but I thought that was. They did paint them in various different shades of green, but it looked like the original colour was actually a bit darker. It looked more like a Lister mid-Brunswick green, but hey ho, it's nice and bright, isn't it? It's almost like a Ransom's green. Look, there's my Ransom's minor. It's a slightly different shade to that. Anyway, no, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with that. So yeah, I might be out of action for a little bit, but hopefully not for too long. And it's assembly time now, really, isn't it? I've done everything really. It wasn't a concourse restoration. I mean, it was a running engine. It was in a hell of a state though. Look, this is all nice now. Look, that was completely seized up before. That's the engine speed regulator. That regulates the governor, so you can regulate the speed on there. So that's all working nicely. I'm looking forward to putting it all back together. and giving it a run. Oh, I did do one other little bodge, which I'll show you guys quickly. It was on the starting handle. Oh, blimey, the cooker's gone off. I've got to turn the cooker on, otherwise my wife will kill me. She's got her dinner in here. Let's turn it on. Oh, there we go. That's all right. Her dinner's in here, so that's on now. Oh, look, there's a cylinder head there. Look as well. That's all ready to go. The cylinder head was really good. The valve seats were good on that. Oh, that's part of the injector pump. The little cam thing goes in there. That's drying on the radiator. My wife's very good. She lets me do whatever I want in the house, well, within reason. I was telling you about the starting handle, wasn't I? Where is it? Oh, there it is. The starting handle, there it is. I painted it, but the old woodworm got to this, and the wooden handle was all right, but well, I had a big chunk missing out of it. I've wrapped it in a bit of glass fibre. Bit of a bodge, isn't it, between you and me? But it's functional. I might paint that. Maybe when I've got more time I'll get a piece of wood, but I can't drill the hole through the wood though. I have used a little metal tube before and cut the washer off and then put a metal tube on there. But it's all right for now. You couldn't really do it properly before because the metal dug in your hand. As I said, the wood was a bit broken down, but hey ho, it'll be all right, won't it? I might paint that. I can't paint that black or something. But yeah, there we go. Put that back in there. We'll have to put this in the freezer. That's the gudgeon pin. We put that in the freezer and it shrinks it a little bit. Makes it easier for knocking it back in. Oh, I tell you, I'll just show you one other thing. I got myself a little brass drift. Now these brass drifts are really expensive, but they're like 20 quid or something. So I bought myself a piece of brass. There we go, look. That was like 6 quid or something, or 6 or 7 quid. So I can use that to knock the gudgeon pin on its final journey. Why do these drawers always jam up? Anyway, that really is it. That really is it for now. So yeah, over and out, guys. I'll see you on the next instalment. Take it easy, folks. Bye.